Don't you have to clap?
Hello, Joe.
Hey, Hammid.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Garage Talk Media's special edition.
Special.
We're actually on episode 11, but it'll come out. This will come out before we finish up the One Punch Man series.
We're going into hyperdrive, and we are going to be critiquing
Star Wars.
The Rise of Skywalker.
Okay, so quick review of the movie if you
Right.
haven't seen it. We won't have many spoilers. And not at the beginning here at least. It basically concludes the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Joe, you had a hard time keeping them all together.
I did. I kind of, fell off track with so many Star Wars films, but we're critiquing this one, and I saw it yesterday, so far it's still fresh in my mind. If I have to go back into the past and allude to the former films, I'll have to defer to you.
Yeah, okay. The reason why I saw the movie is because when I saw the original in 1977 as a child, fascinating, it was wonderful,
Exactly.
loved it. I think everybody
Something
did.
totally new. It just opened up our imaginations as youngsters. We loved it. I had my mom take me to see it, and then my dad take me to see it.
And then you had kids at school where I went to school that were saying, "Oh, I saw it another time. I saw it again this weekend." And some people were in the 10s and 20s and stuff. And you're going, "Really? You went that many times?" But we were middle school, so no big deal. You got in for the matinee price at the time it was $1.50.
Right, and after Star Wars, the first one that really opened up my motivation and imagination to starting Super 8mm films. And I would make little Super 8mm films with my model airplanes and attacking dinosaurs and toy soldiers and stuff like that.
This movie, again, ends it, and since I'm not a hardcore, I didn't read the books, I didn't read I do have like the original comics, but I don't have the comics since then. I love the YouTube channels that do that. I do love movies though.
Yeah,
And
I love movies too.
Right.
That's why we're here.
Yes. I think I enjoyed the hype more than the actual movies.
That means the trailers were better than the movies.
Exactly.
Back then. Because they take the best segments from the movies and put them together with all these special effects. And that narrator, that late narrator that passed away, would go, 2 men, 2 cars, a dinosaur, and a dog. Poor guy.
My problem with this, with the trailer though, was I was so discouraged from the last movie that it upset me to even have to see this one. What I didn't like about The Last Jedi wasn't just the problem with what Rian Johnson did, and I think he was overwhelmed, and the ideas that he wanted to have. I just don't like some of the story plot devices that he used. I don't like slow-moving chases.
Yeah, you don't want to make your audience wait. They want the tension. They want the friction. They want it to happen. They're expecting the tragedy to happen right away.
So things like that made me dislike The Last Jedi so much. Real quick, that's my initial thing. What are your initial feelings about seeing this movie?
Okay, what are my initial feelings? All right. I don't want to be a hater.
Just your initial ones. I don't want to. No conclusion yet.
Right.
Just.
Okay, I liked it. I found it entertaining. I got into it. I liked it more than I expected to because I kind of thought, another Star Wars movie? Come on, are they trying to leech the series dry? That's enough. But I found it entertaining, and I liked the deepness in it. At times I thought it was a little bit too dark, a little bit too much horror at the beginning with Senator Palpatine there, and it almost felt like the movie The Matrix, and Kylo Ren is walking around, and it reminded me of Keanu Reeves in The Matrix. And I thought, is this going to be a horror film? But then they lightened it up here and there with the banter and the wit with C-3PO and Oscar Isaac's character, Poe. I did enjoy the interchange between Rey and Kylo Ren, because in the prior film he reached out to her, so he followed up with her taking her by the hand, offering her hand again, and the little bit of romance and interest they had, and she resisted him until the very end. So that all played out well, and then at the end it almost seemed like a Romeo and Juliet when he passes and all that, and he dies on there. So that was drama I did like, and the rest, the action was good. I wasn't too much overwhelmed with the special effects. I almost think they were a little bit subpar. I don't know, the Millennium Falcon flying out of a jungle, and the whole jungle setup didn't quite work for me. I kept thinking, that looks like the Arboretum here in Arcadia the whole time, you know. But I enjoyed it. The audience seemed to enjoy it. The story worked for me. and they stuck to some of the same formulas as before. At the end of the movie, the Millennium Falcon returns to save the day, along with like 1,000 battleships from all the different colonies and planets that did get the word out, that did come and save the day. And that was sort of set up because Poe said that we should go in on this, and in hopes that all the other colonies or planets will send people to help them fight the Imperial battleships. The Last Order, they call the Last Order? First Order, Final Order,
the Final Order.
Final Order.
Palpatine said that.
Final Order. It sounds like being at a restaurant. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, let's go into each thing. Let's talk about the beginning.
Okay.
Starting a movie with a montage just seems so beneath J.J. Abrams. I don't know why he would do that. Why would you start a montage of Kylo Ren going through the forest, defeating people?
Yeah.
You get the initial crawl, you find out the backstory, and he's now searching for Palpatine. I just don't.
Compression of time. Montage. You have to show time passing through. If he were to stretch it out scene by scene, that movie would have been twice as long. Like in a book, written form, you have the whole story, everything written out, what's happening over time. But when you have to have a movie only within a certain amount of time, and plus it was probably longer and they had to edit it down to the 2 hours, whatever it was, that's why you can tell a lot of story with the montage.
So that was the first thing I didn't like. The second thing, I didn't mind the Palpatine thing, and I heard someone, Red Letter Media, I watch them a lot, so link in the description to their channel.
Yeah, they're good.
They're very good. One of their videographer guys, one of their
cinematographers,
one of their characters,
all right,
on Red Letter Media, or one of their reviewers on Red Letter Media, said that he saw the Palpatine character as a completely different way than I thought initially, and I think he's right. I think the reason why the Sith were so powerful, and Palpatine in particular was so powerful, I mean, he took down everybody else, was he was the culmination of all the Sith before him. So that wasn't the Palpatine we saw in the Death Star get killed. That might have been a clone, and since the Sith have their own powers that are unknown, and they can supposedly bring things back to life, I think basically they transferred their consciousness into a clone or something that was, kind of feeble. He looked horrible.
Yeah, he did.
Why Disney went with this whole new route that they did, I just don't understand at all. I think they basically wanted a clean sheet, which, you spend $4 billion on a property.
Yeah.
You're allowed to do that.
Yeah. So I think Disney just wanted to take it into a whole new direction to open up possibilities for other sequels in the future. Just keep it open, different characters, different movies, going different directions. I don't know what they could do after this, except taking the individual characters and having background movies on them, like they did with Solo.
So, did you like the movie?
Yes, I did.
Would you recommend it to someone?
I would recommend it to anybody who likes Star Wars. Well, wait a minute. Let me qualify that. I would recommend it to anybody who likes a very good, interesting space sci-fi movie with interesting story, interesting characters. Yes, I would. Now, for die-hard Star Wars fans, you guys would know better than I do, and I don't know if I would. I'm on the fence with that. I enjoyed it. And regarding the audience, people clapped before it and people clapped after it. Okay. However, there weren't many of us in the audience, and this is about 2 weeks after it's come out. I saw it yesterday.
Personally, my biggest critique for the whole film, it did not feel like a Star Wars film.
It felt different to me in the sense that it seemed more of like the characters running around making little cracks at each other on a quest, and then there's a dark side. That's a play on words. Dark side with the Sith Lord that made it seem like a horror film. Plus, the romance side between Ben and Rey put together. Yeah, it was had a whole different feel to it than Star Wars, which is okay because it might take it in a whole different direction.
Well, when I say it doesn't feel like a Star Wars film, not only did I not appreciate some of the new stuff that they, like this hyperdrive skipping.
Light skipping. Okay.
That didn't do it for me.
Right. Okay.
I mean, to me, it would have just fried out the Millennium Falcon's computer, which it just didn't work for me. Those type of new things, like the force healing, the light skipping, some of the force powers that were introduced, and the telepathy and stuff. I'm talking more like, remember if you look to the original movie, the transitions. Something as small as the transitions. And I guess Lucas liked the transitions where they would wipe left.
Yes, the wipes, because back then we had wipes. Wipes and dissolves.
Yeah.
Right.
And he even
vertical
kept those
wipes and diagonal wipes.
He even kept that in the prequels, I think.
Okay.
Even though you could have done anything. This was just like sensory overload. It's like, whoa. You know, you could have at least made the transitions a little bit milder or softer.
Because audiences are more sophisticated now. They've seen everything. They need to be wowed. They need everything new. You know, cuts are now called smash cuts. What's the difference? Nothing. A cut is a cut. This film, put it together. There's no smashing. It's a cut.
But the way he cut the way the movie was edited also goes to the way the characters were developed. And to me, I appreciated that there was some camaraderie and some, you know, buddy kind of movie type elements in it, but it just didn't. There wasn't enough. There wasn't in the little that they did do. It just seemed like it was just way too fast. It's like, oh, this quip and this quip, boom, next scene. It's like, you know, I didn't get to enjoy that. I didn't get to chuckle at that. I didn't get to see, you know, how that would kind of blossom later on or so forth.
But I was brought into the movie. I'm so glad that it did feel like Star Wars with the opening credits. How it's like boom, and with the music, and then it says Star Wars, and then the opening sequence goes up and explains, and the music, and all of a sudden the music sort of dies down. You know, they have the horns, the French horns going da 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 da. It felt like Star Wars. It felt nostalgic. It felt like I was really young again back in junior high and high school. And then all of a sudden, like the twinkly sounds go, and then the camera pans down to the first scene.
Yeah, and then after that, it did not feel like a Star Wars film.
That's true. That's true.
Just really freaked me out.
That's true.
I think that's what I was most upset about. It was just like, this doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie. And as bad as I disliked The Last Jedi, and I hate that this movie, again, going back to this movie was so bad, it either makes you like or not like the other movie. I had to say that Rian Johnson did get the feel for Star Wars. This just did not get it for me. I just like, don't think it's a Star Wars.
Well, you know, I don't want to play devil's advocate, but there's a fine line to go with between the tried and true and to being bold and going into a new direction. You're going to upset people on either side. If they stuck with the tried and true, there would be nothing new, and people would say same old. It's like a reproduction of Star Wars. If you introduce new bold ideas and bold feelings and different directions, you'll have a whole generation of people that will want to see new storylines.
I had to see this because it was all kind of tied to the original movie. If these new characters, since they don't have Leia, they don't have Luke, and they don't have Han anymore, I have no reason to watch the movie in 2022.
You'll watch it. You'll watch it. You're not going to want to be out of the loop. Go watch it. Doesn't mean you're going to have to love it, but you'll watch it.
And no, you know, here's the difference though. Why didn't you see Solo in the theaters?
Because I'm not as much of a Star Wars fan as you are. I'm a Star Wars traditionalist. Way back when I was young, the first three rocked. Yeah. After that, it's like, oh, another. Do they have to extend the story? Do they have to keep me?
You mean when they made the next three movies?
The next three movies. That's for the younger generations to get them all addicted to Star Wars so they can watch it and grow up and buy all the toys and keep watching the movies. But one thing I thought was brilliant was having General Princess Leia there in this film, because she had passed away. Carrie Fisher had passed away.
Oh, you want to talk about that? Okay.
How did they make her a character in this movie? Whatever they did was brilliant. Maybe just her face, maybe just words that she had said in former films and shown the back of the actress of another head.
I think the part, I did enjoy that. I did enjoy that she had a presence there.
Yeah.
But there was something off.
There was something way off. She was very robotic with a little bit of creepiness in it. But I still really like the fact that they brought her back through character generator or anything to make her look real like a character she was there.
To me, the thing that I would critique about the whole thing was I actually liked the way she looked. And that was the bad part because I think they de-aged her a little bit. I think they not only... She didn't look like she did in The Force Awakens or The Last Jedi. To me, she just looked a little bit off. And in a good way. And that's not what I wanted to remember about.
I know. No, I'm just getting thoughts of I used to work at a mortuary for a very short time, and I would talk to the makeup people and the embalmers, but let's not go there.
The Return of the Jedi. I think I saw behind the scenes. They showed one shot, and at the time it was the most composited shot in film history, with like 120 something moving objects on the screen.
All
at
the
one
TIE
time.
fighters, all the TIE fighters coming out. That was brilliant. That blew me away when I saw that.
This movie, I think they tried to do the same thing with all the ships coming in, and then the Millennium Falcon basically coming into the scene.
It wasn't the same.
It's like...
It wasn't the same because all those ships were just standing there. Or did they go in through hyperdrive? I don't know. They were just standing there with some kind of a bright sun in back of them, and the Millennium Falcon came in. Okay, but no comparison to the Return of the Jedi with hundreds of TIE fighters just coming at you and coming at you.
And that's where I'm saying this movie did not feel like a Star Wars film.
That's where you gotta dig down to the very lowest layer of suspend your disbelief and just accept it. Just accept it. Some far off planet called Exima that's not on any map that the Jedis and the Resistance don't know anything about. It's far off, and they haven't known about it for years and years. And there, the Sith Lords have been amassing this huge fleet of huge battle cruisers. Each battle cruiser must take a couple years to produce and make. Like if you make a battleship or a cruiser, that takes a couple of years.
No, these were upgraded, no less.
Upgraded
to
with
the
big cannon, planet-destroying cannon. So I guess they built it over just a few years. All those
20-something years.
20-some years. Yeah. And all those battle cruisers. How do they have?
Well, okay, just throwing out your disbelief.
Accept it.
Accepting it's fine, but again, the plot device I didn't like was they can't leave the atmosphere. Why? I mean, would it rip the planet apart? Okay. Palpatine can just regenerate on his own.
You mean they couldn't leave the planet because they were command control linked to that antenna on the base?
No. Poe described it as they have to get to a certain height past the planet. And I can understand this. It's sort of like maybe some real physics going on. Like you can't put something into orbit over the Earth unless you escape the atmosphere and the effects of gravity.
That's right.
So I get that part, but in this universe, you have hyperdrives, which can just take off. Now, you might hit a few starships, but that's okay. You're still going to be defending yourself and just have them take off.
Because they needed the command decision by Palpatine, who would then send that decision through that antenna to reach all them. I guess all those ship commanders didn't have the independent decision-making capability to go on his own. They had to just sit there like sitting ducks until the antenna told them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You didn't have that. Oh, okay. If you want to complain about something about the Resistance being on the hull of the Star Destroyer,
yes,
where were the turbo lasers there? Remember the Death Star had turbo lasers, so you couldn't just have the starfighters go in. They might have been terrible at aiming, like you're complaining about the stormtroopers.
Yeah,
but they still had turbo lasers going off. There were none on top of the Star Destroyer. Did Palpatine not put turbo lasers on the surface of the?
There was one, and that's where John Boyega
turned
the one and fired it on the bridge. Fired it onto the bridge.
So is that the only one there? Why weren't there others on the Star Destroyer firing at them when they were on their horses? The Skywalker story as I know it is done, and I didn't like how it ended. Well, I think Star Wars is dead to me. Yeah. You don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, but I'm not looking forward to the next one or the next one. I'm thinking...
But you might go see it.
If in 2 years I had friends that twisted my arm saying, hey, let's get together, we're going to go to lunch, and then we're going to go see the movie, I guess I would. But remember, I saw this movie to critique it on this show, Garage Talk Media. That's why I said we're going to change gears from our usual
and
show.
Do something more topical.
Yeah,
all
exactly.
Right.
So we did it.
So let's wrap it up. I guess this was our review of Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed it. I went and saw it. You went and saw it. He would suggest it.
I would give it a thumbs up, sure.
Okay.
Sure, it's not perfect, but it was entertaining enough, and I enjoyed it, and it had its elements, its interesting elements. Either way, right now we're off to light speed.
No, hyperdrive.
Hyperdrive.
Hyperdrive. Is the thing going up? Can we even back out?
Is that our hyperdrive?
Is it raining yet?
Is that our hyperdrive?
is my? You know what? I can't see my.
Our lithium crystals aren't working. We don't even have a Chewie as a navigator.
No, it's a kyber crystal. That's what the speed. It's the light vapor, right? Kyber crystal. We have no clue.
Are we on still?
Yeah, we're still on. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye bye.